Jamal Niaz here at Liverpool Comic Con with Michael Tucci, one of the stars of Greece, one of the T-Birds. How amazing is it to hear fans' stories about how much they love this film after all these years?
Well, you know, the demographic on the movie is so strong, from little babies to my age. So it works. It could be a babysitting movie, and to hear everybody's story, how it works. Because the younger people don't really get the underlining stories, so it gives us a tremendous audience. So that's important.
Yeah, and then obviously it was adapted from a stage play before the film had been made. How aware were you of the stage play, and did you expect it to become the hit that it was?
Well, I did the stage play. I replaced Sonny on Broadway, and then was actually replaced in the role of Sonny. And then I was offered the role of Roger, which is actually the role in the movie. And the movie got... but I never thought it would turn out to be this. It was always successful, but never thought the movie would become this icon. I mean, it's on a level with The Wizard of Oz, Oliver, Sound of Music, even a grander demographic than those movies. But the transition of a Broadway play to the screen is pretty difficult to do. West Side Story did it, and those others. But it's tough.
Seeing those numbers happen on set, you know, like Summer Lovin', that must have been a sight to behold, and you must have known that was going to become a massive hit, surely.
Well, the whole thing, but they were screening. They did a screening, a rough cut of Saturday Night Fever,
yes.
And John invited us to go to the screening, and I turned my head, and the lady who was cleaning the seats, there was only about 100 people in there, and working in the theater at Paramount, everybody stopped to watch John.
Yeah.
And when it was over, we got, oh my God, when Grease comes out, this guy's going to be big, bigger than life. And then I was walking with Stockard and John from the theater, and John, very shy, very charming, very beautiful guy, and looked at Stockard and I and said, "So what do you think?" And Stockard said, "What do I'm speaking with an English accent. I love your voice." So she said, "You're going to be Rudolph Valentino when this movie comes out. You watch." Boom. She called it. But you knew it. You just saw it. And he has such charm. Even when we did the Broadway play, I was with him a little bit at the end, but he went to another show called Over Here about the Andrews sisters. And he got tremendous reviews. They compared him to Jerry Lewis, and then his career started off.
Seeing that chemistry between John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John on set, how electric was that? And were you all friends as well? Were you all hanging out outside of the film as well?
Well, when the movie was over, we all hung out. I knew Jamie from the Broadway play, but I could, with the ending of the movie, when Olivia comes out in that outfit, you knew that then what was going to happen. She was so naivete, so beautiful, so caring, such a big international star. But the chemistry between the two of them, when they did a test, and she wanted the test, she said, "I have the test. Let's see it." It was brilliant. Paramount, and these guys, what do they know? A lot of the executives, I mean, you know, they get the product, but they all went, it just instant worked. And she was, I mean, John was a star at the time, but she was a megastar, and lovely to John, and John lovely to her. In fact, we just did a big thing in Florida before the COVID, 3 concerts with them. And they brought in more ticket sales with the show that we put on and the movie and this sing-along than they made on the Rolling Stones. That was Live Nation. She has a tremendous following. Both of them do.
Your character was a jokester, very, very cheeky young man. Your character in the film, he was a jokester, weren't he? He was a very cheeky man.
Well, in the Broadway show, actually the role Sonny in the Broadway show was called Roger, and he sang the song Mooning. But when they did the movie, they rearranged everything, and basically Sonny is Roger, and Duty is Sonny. So, but when I did Sonny on Broadway, and I was not fired, just replaced, and offered another role because it was getting too many laughs. And Sonny isn't supposed to get laughs; he's like a sleaze bag. Yeah. So I'm happy that I gave the Italian people more than a sleaze bag.
Yeah.
You know, God help me. When Alan Carr, when he went to Italy to the premiere, and he says, "Tucci, they're going crazy for Sonny." So, Vaseline to you.
What was the most fun moment for you on set, if you had to If you had to select a moment, was there a particular day or scene that you loved filming more than any?
Well, actually, it was before filming when I was doing a play in L.A. and Alan Carr and Joel Thurm, the casting director, was sitting in front of my mother and father at the play, and my mother heard the word Grease, and she says, "Grease, what do you know about Grease?" And he says, "I'm producing the movie." "Oh, well, you should see my son. He was in the play." "How come I didn't see his son?" So he asked the casting director. They thought I was too old in New York. And then he said, "I want to see him tomorrow morning." And I went in, and he said, "Sing for me." And I sang, and he said, "You're Sonny, Roger, whoever you want to be." And then he gave me $100 to take my mother and father to Chasen's for dinner. He changed my life within 5 minutes. And on the set, my favorite moment really was meeting Eve Arden, the principal. So charming, so elegant, so smart, and we hung out a lot together. And Joan Blondell, that was a great moment because I kind of grew up with her in a way.
I don't know if you've heard, but they're doing 2 prequels on the Paramount Plus. The Summer Lovin' prequel, obviously about the romance and the Pink Ladies. Yeah. What do you make of that news?
It's great. Let it continue. But the movie became. I mean, the play was an icon. 9 years on Broadway, and the movie became Gone with the Wind. It became The Wizard of Oz. Even beyond that, because of the demographic, like The Wizard of Oz is so big, or Sound of Music. So, really. It changed John's life, and Olivia was really established, but it made me financially secure, and I got signed to CBS and did 4 television series. And Diagnosis Murder, big hit in Europe, Germany, England. So, nice.
Do you think that 2 pictures deal that John Travolta did for Grease and Saturday Night Fever back to back, do you think that's the biggest 2-picture deal that Hollywood has seen? Because that made a career, didn't it? That made an icon.
The talent that John Travolta had, they couldn't even pay him. And John really had no idea how talented he was. He would sing, he sang. He danced. He acted. And then when he left Grease, he went across the street, I think nominated for a Tony. It was called Over Here, based on the Andrews Sisters. And the New York Times compared him to Jerry Lewis, which was really interesting because he is funny, but he's also. If they had hired John Travolta at this moment and had any idea what he was back then, forget you couldn't pay him.
Yes.
And Olivia too, a different game, but she was a major star. I mean, when we were shooting the movie, everybody was coming in, Olivia Newton-John, because she had a #1 record, a #1 album. So she was Sandy, and John was the Zuko you needed for the camera. You didn't need an asshole. Oh, excuse me. You needed a hunk, funny, charming, and had a nice love for her because she was so opposite of him.
Yeah, 100%.
And being Italian, I could understand that.
I mean, that film touched everyone all over the world. Still is. It's just getting passed down generation for generation. Even though all these spin-offs and prequels are getting made, that will always be the original. I don't think it'll ever be touched. I don't see it getting remade. Or
the chemistry between the original Broadway show, I think it was Barry Bostwick, and I forgot, I don't know who Sandy was, but very successful, and the chemistry was good. But the chemistry on the movie was brilliant with Olivia and John. It just was so perfect. The timing was right, and everything worked. And then the director, it was very open to us doing what we needed to do. And when you look at it, I'm very similar to, maybe brighter than Sonny in my normal life, but I understand that Italian kind of want to be part of the group and they're not accepting you. And I think it's good for people today. When we did Grease, it was the 50s, but we had 70s music which sold it because of Robert Stigwood and the music and, the Bee Gees and Frankie Valli and Frankie Avalon, so everything was like fitting into place for the time and then extended. So they really could, for not knowing what they were doing, they didn't miss.
Yeah.
And I think the key was John and Olivia.
And finally, when you mentioned Frankie Valli there, when you heard his theme song, what was your initial reaction? Because that is an outstanding theme.
When they added the animation and the Grease song, I said this is going to be a hit.
Yeah.
I felt that because it needed. What was it? Was it satirical? Was it truth? Was it a joke? But that made it a comedy, animation, going right into the movie. It just worked, and a lot of that had to do with Alan Carr. He was Ziegfeld. I mean, and I mean, of course, Randall and all those people very involved. But Alan Carr, I mean, if it wasn't for Alan Carr, I wouldn't be in the movie. I mean, just all that extravagance. I mean, he did a Ziegfeld movie, you know.
It's an amazing achievement, and you should be really proud. And I'm glad to see so many people coming up.
I'm so proud, and especially at this point in my life, when I heard we were coming to Liverpool. Nothing against the other places, but wow, I was so excited. I mean, I love London for the theater, but Liverpool is, you know, I mean, I grew up with the Beatles. I wasn't really into music that much because my parents were into Frank Sinatra and Mel Torme, and we had to listen to that, which was okay. But coming to Liverpool, I said, I got to take my daughter Kate. I mean, instantly I thought of that, and she came with me here. She's younger, and she loves the city the way I'm seeing it. And then the weather. I mean, what? They said you're going to have rain, you're going to need a raincoat, you're going to need an umbrella.
You brought the sun with you, you have.
I brought the sun with me.
Yeah.
And you bring it from your heart. God bless you.